Ever since ChatGPT just exploded onto the scene, there's been this one question hanging over so many creative jobs. Is a robot going to take my job? And for writers, for editors, for proofreaders, this isn't just some far-off idea. It feels really, really close to home. So today, we're going to face that anxiety head-on. I actually pulled this question straight from an online discussion between professional editors. It just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? This isn't about whether AI is cool tech. It's about, am I still going to have a career in a few years? So what's the real answer? Let's dig in and see what the data and the people on the ground are actually saying. And you can't deny the hype. It feels like a tidal wave of new AI tools is just crashing into the publishing world, and every single one is promising to completely change the game. They're selling this vision of a future where all the boring, tedious stuff just disappears, right? But what does that actually look like in the real world? All right, so let's start with part one, the promise of AI. To really get why everyone's so anxious, we first have to understand why this technology is so appealing. Why is everybody jumping on board so fast? And what can it really do? And let's be clear, this is not some future prediction. This is happening right now. A recent survey found that a whopping 40% of publishers are already using AI for editorial tasks, things like proofreading or checking for plagiarism. They're using it to write headlines, to help with research, even to transcribe interviews. The industry is already treating AI like a really powerful assistant. And you can see why. The advantages are pretty obvious. AI is incredibly fast. It can scan thousands of words in just a few seconds. It's on call 24/7 for that last-minute check you need to run. It is a master at spotting patterns, catching typos, making sure terms are used consistently, flagging plagiarism, and it can even suggest new ways to structure a clunky sentence. It's basically the tireless assistant who never ever needs a coffee break. But, and believe me, this is a big but. Can this super efficient assistant really be trusted to run the whole show? Well, let's pull back the curtain and look at the machine's very real and honestly, sometimes pretty shocking limitations. So what's this number, 15%? That is the hallucination rate for one of the most advanced AI models out there. And a hallucination is just a nice way of saying the AI confidently makes stuff up. A fact, a source, a number, whatever. Now, a 15% error rate might be fine if you're just brainstorming ideas, but when facts actually matter, that is a massive red flag. And if you want to see what that looks like in the real world, wow. There was this huge case where two lawyers used ChatGPT for a legal brief. The AI just straight up invented entire court cases, fake rulings, fake quotes, fake citations, the whole shebang. The judge, as you can imagine, was not impressed, and those lawyers got into serious trouble. It's a perfect reminder that blindly trusting what the AI gives you can have huge consequences. So, beyond getting facts wrong, AI can stumble in a much more subtle way. See, these models learn from all the text we've ever put online, which, let's be honest, is full of our own human biases. So when you ask it to do something like write a recommendation letter, it can fall back on old stereotypes. It might describe female candidates with words like kind and easygoing, but describe male candidates as having leadership and being competent. It doesn't have the human nuance to check itself and ensure fairness. And this quote, this is probably my favorite example. It's from an editor on Reddit. It just nails another huge limitation. How is a machine supposed to understand a piece of feedback like this? Make it more funky. A huge part of an editor's job is to be a translator, to turn a client's feeling into a real change on the page. AI can't do that. It just doesn't get funky. So, all of this really boils down to one big idea: context comprehension. An AI can process words, sure, but it really struggles to get the stuff between the words. The irony, the metaphors, the inside jokes, the emotional tone, and that right there, that's the core of what a human editor truly brings to the table. So, this leads us to a much more interesting way of looking at the future. Maybe it's not a big showdown, human versus machine. Instead, what seems to be happening is a new, really powerful kind of partnership: human with machine. So, check this out. Here's what that new workflow is starting to look like. Step 1. The AI does a super fast first pass. It handles all the mechanical, repetitive stuff, the grunt work. That frees up the human editor to focus their time and their brain power on the really deep issues: the story's flow, the author's unique voice, the emotional impact. The final result? It's a collaboration that's way more powerful than what either one could have done on their own. And again, this isn't just a nice idea. It's already happening. Major academic publishers are all in on this collaborative model. You've got Frontiers using an AI to speed up their peer review process. The American Society of Civil Engineers uses one for technical checks before a paper even gets to a human. The key takeaway here is they are not firing their editors. They're giving them supercharged tools to do their jobs better. This quote from Robin Muggeridge over at Frontiers just says it all perfectly. The point of these AI tools isn't to replace human judgment, it's to support it. The AI does the boring checks, it provides the data, and that empowers the human editor to make smarter, faster, and just plain better decisions. Okay, so if the future is all about collaboration and not replacement, what does that actually mean for editors themselves? How do you make sure you not only survive, but actually thrive in this new world? This right here might be the single most important sentence in this entire explainer. It comes straight from that online debate we started with. The real threat isn't the AI. The threat isn't another editor who learns how to use AI to be faster and more efficient. Just resisting the technology, that's not a winning strategy. So future-proofing your career really means doubling down on the skills that machines just can't copy. Things like deep critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and that crucial contextual understanding. But there are also new skills, like knowing how to write the perfect prompt to get the best result from an AI. In the end, your unique expertise, your humanness, that becomes your most valuable asset. So we end up right back where we started, but now, hopefully, with a totally different perspective. The conversation has shifted from just being afraid of being replaced to thinking about how to adapt and evolve. The tools are here. They're getting better every single day. So the real question now isn't about the robots. It's about you. Are you ready to use them?